There are just a few places to be safe when a large tornado is near. The families in Moore thought their third graders would be safe in their school building. They thought the walls at Plaza Towers Elementary would hold up to the wind and the debris. They thought their babies would come home from school that day.
The first thing I thought of was, thank God they're at school.
Nicole Engel's 9-year-old daughter Sydney was with 6 of her classmates in a hallway at Plaza Towers when the wall came crashing down May 20th.
You have to learn how to live broken. And that's just kind of the way it feels, is your normal is now broken.
She and the other Plaza Towers parents are pushing for more safe rooms in schools. They know, like no one else does, the importance of protecting our children.
When people talk about, the loss of a child, and I just feel, I didn't lose her, she got taken. It's not like I lost sight of her. She got taken.
At Plaza Towers Elementary, there was no protection, no safe place for those kids to take shelter from the storm. There are a handful of districts around town that have safe rooms in their schools, but what about the state's largest public school district? Oklahoma City Public Schools has more than 40,000 students, 2,000 to 3,000 staffers at 74 locations around Oklahoma City. About 10 years ago, Maps for Kids paid for safe rooms in 5 school buildings, including 3 big high schools. Former Maps project manager Eric Wenger.
As I recall, about $1.9 million in grants were provided to Oklahoma City Public Schools through the City of Oklahoma City for safe room construction. And that was significant at that time, and again, I think we maximized the potential of what we could do.
A few years after the Maps for Kids safe rooms, the city passed a bond issue to build brand new elementary gymnasiums at 47 district locations. $78 million for brand new gyms like this one at 47 schools. Not one of them has a safe room.
Ready, go.
Not one of these state-of-the-art facilities offers any additional protection for the kids who spend their time here. School District Chief Operations Officer Jim Berkey.
I mean, the district knew about the safe room issue. They were doing it in 2003. So why in 2007, when they built all these gyms, was it not considered?
I could not address that. I don't even know if that was in the discussion. It well could have been in the discussion. That I don't know.
To be fair, Berkey didn't take the job until after the 2007 bond issue was planned and passed.
You have to have the money and you have to have the plan.
But he was working as Chief Operations Officer when construction started. Berkey tells us safe rooms were not ever considered at any point in the process. We uncovered the construction plans, the architect's directions. There is no mention of safe rooms.
Looking back, was that a misstep?
I cannot find fault with the decision that was made 8-9 years ago, applying a 2020 vision now. There's all sorts of things that could have been done different by any organization.
While Oklahoma City Public Schools passed on the option to build safe rooms in their brand new gyms, other districts did not. Across our state, 80 other schools have built safe rooms with FEMA assistance since 2003. FEMA paid for a majority of those projects, on average, 75% of the cost.
There are a lot of folks looking, saying, wow, this was really a missed opportunity.
Very well could have been. We can do what we can do right now at this point in time.
Oklahoma Emergency Management Director Albert Ashwood is on a crusade to educate communities about the affordability of school safe rooms. They are especially reasonable when districts take advantage of the federal disaster mitigation funding.
But the truth is, since they started counting disasters nationally in 1953, only Texas and California have had more presidential declarations than Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, we have had FEMA assistance every single year since '99. Every single year, there's funding available for Oklahoma schools to keep kids safe.
I think it's really a matter of priorities. If you sit back as a school district and say, well, that's something that we can't afford, then it's something you'll never be able to afford, regardless of the cost.
And the cost for 7 Oklahoma families has been tremendous, more than anyone should ever have to bear.
It's preventable. I know it's costly and it's not an overnight fix, but it's preventable. Kids should just be safe at school, everywhere.
Yes, Oklahoma kids should be safe at their school. Allie Meyer, News Channel 4. This is an issue we've been following closely here at News Channel 4, and here's why. We know about 500,000 Oklahoma children are unprotected in their school building. Yes, a large tornado is rare, and the odds are small that a school will be hit. But if it happens again, like it did in Moore, we know most Oklahoma students are unprotected in their school. The EF5 left breathless destruction in its wake, neighborhoods leveled, schools destroyed, an excruciating reminder about what Mother Nature is capable of.
I come out here because I feel connected to her out here.
Christy Knatzer left her 1st and 3rd grade daughters at school that day because she thought they'd be safer in that building. Their home down the street from Plaza Towers was torn apart by wind and debris that afternoon. She had no idea in those first moments her heart would be trampled next.
Our house was destroyed around us, and we came out and, you know, we entered into our own nightmare.
Emily Knatzer huddled down in a hallway, crushed by the weight of one of the walls of her school building. She died with 6 of her classmates at Plaza Towers Elementary. Emily was an artist. She loved unicorns, and she loved school. In those first days, the Knatzers and the other 6 families were comforted by the support of Oklahomans, the support of the nation, President Obama and Governor Fallin.
She looked at us and said, whatever we can do to help you, we'll help you.
Through their grief, the 7 families of the Moore children came together in support of a statewide petition to fund safe rooms for Oklahoma schools. We know about 60% of our schools are unprotected. 500,000 children have nowhere to go in the event of a tornado.
You know, here's the thing, our kids have to go to school, okay? They are required by state law to go to school. If my child's required to go to school, I require their safety.
And so the families were shocked to learn the governor announced this week she does not support the initiative.
I do think it's a very important issue for our state, but that's a local controlled decision that's made by school boards and the people in those school district areas who vote on bond issues, and they have to choose between where they want to put their money. So
the governor tells us she is opposed to a measure that would divert $500 million state dollars to help Oklahoma school districts pay for safe rooms. She thinks there's another way.
There are things that will have to be cut to fund $500 million of bonds, and so that's what people just need to be educated on how that's going to work. I'm not against someone having a petition drive. I'm just saying let's look at what you have to do to implement a program like this.
We know the governor has a safe place to go during severe weather. The mansion has a basement. The Capitol complex has underground tunnels.
All they were offered for protection that day were their little hands over the back of their heads. That's what my daughter was offered. Not a safe room, not a desk to put over her head. She was offered her hands, and she tucked her head down, and you know, that's not how it should have been. So I'll fight Mary Fallin, and we will get her 160,000 signatures, and we'll move on to the next one.
Bonded by this awful circumstance, moving forward, united, these parents are fighting for their kids. The 7 little ones who didn't make it and their precious siblings who go to school every day in buildings which offer little protection. Allie Meyer, News Channel 4. children go to Oklahoma City Public Schools, chances are they have no protection from severe weather while they're at school. There are 74 schools in the district, 5 safe rooms for about 6,000 students. And as we've reported, it's been 10 years since this district last built a safe room. That, it appears, is changing. Board member Jay Means.
No one on this board is apathetic or indifferent or opposed to safe rooms for our children when it comes to tornado season.
The Oklahoma City School Board voted 2 weeks ago to build a safe room at Nichols Hills Elementary. It was unanimous. This week, they announced they'll now re-vote on that issue because of a technicality. Last month, the board voted for a safe room also at Chavez Elementary. Board member Justin Ellis.
And I think it's our responsibility to be the ringleaders and support what we talk about, and not just talk about it, but act on it.
They can put a bunch of people in here.
Tony Blatt is the architect on the Nichols Hills project, an 8,000 square foot gym. Hornbeak and Blatt architecture firm is reworking the gymnasium blueprints right now to include FEMA-rated protection. They are ahead of schedule. When complete, the gymnasium will be a safe room for almost 2,000 people.
It's the first one, so it's the work that's done here, everything's going to be evaluated against it, whether it's schedule or budget or constructability.
But what about the other 40,000 students in Oklahoma City Public Schools and the teachers? Well, the district tells us they are working on a plan right now to build safe rooms at the other locations. In the meantime, they are refusing to talk with us about the safe room situation. We know the district will likely start with those elementary schools. As we've reported, new construction is already planned at 25 elementaries. The district couldn't provide information about the school gym projects to us, but we know from the City Maps office there are 5 elementary gyms completed, 16 schools where gym construction is underway. For the students at these schools, it's too late for a safe room option in the gymnasium project. There are 11 school gyms in the design phase and 15 more that haven't yet been designed. 26 Oklahoma City elementary schools that could potentially have safe rooms for students and staff in the next few years. Experts estimate adding safe room protection could cost as little as 10% more. District officials believe it'll be 20 or 30%.
I think that the budget is that they're establishing for these safe rooms is coming in conservative until they can find out kind of really how they are. I'd heard 12 to 20 and kind of balanced at 15.
Interim Superintendent Dave Lopez told the school board the funding is available for the first project now. He'll be working to identify new funding sources to make sure the district can pay to build safe rooms at the other 67 unprotected schools around town.
We will not be able to, with current funds available, be able to fund a safe room in every school unless we have a future bond issue that has that as part of its element.
I want to make sure that we don't just stop with here and to say, well, but we can't find any other monies. And so if we are aggressively making sure that we're doing right by all of the children, all of the parents in this district, I am 100% for it.
100% support from board member Ruth Veals and others. We'll be watching closely to make sure this district follows through on their intentions to build safer schools. Allie Meyer, News Channel 4.